Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today I'm leading the show with a conversation with a leading Nigerian progressive politician, somebody who has led the secretariat of the Progressive Governors Forum and who rose to become a vice chairman, a national vice chairman of the ruling APC before he left the party to form what was meant to be the major opposition party, ADC. And someone who is actually leading the G100 group of Nigerians that are calling on the opposition politicians, the leading opposition politicians, to form a common front as we go ahead in January for the presidential poll. So I'd like to welcome back to Inside Sources my brother and friend, Malam Saliu Lukman. Good to see you again on Inside Sources.
Thank you. Good to see you, Raul.
We're going to talk about the statement of G11 titled The Doctrine of a Necessary Democratic Opposition. And, you know, I have quite a lot of things to say about that. Well-written statement got the right attitude. But I must ask you, do you think that some of what is happening can be traced, or there is a link to what the president had told the Catholic bishop, you know, a few weeks back, that all is fair in politics?
You see, I have had comments to that effect, and I have seen people making a comparison with what happened, for instance, under Buhari, how late President Buhari appeared to be much more tolerant. I don't know, I'm not competent to speak about how the president is being managed. But clearly there is something fundamentally wrong. That he could even voice those things he has said to the Catholic bishops is quite alarming. And two things he has said that are quite worrisome. All is fair in politics. The second issue is that, as far as he's concerned, INEC is neutral.
Why did he have to become the spokesperson of INEC?
He doesn't need to be spokesperson of INEC. And at another occasion, he said it's not his responsibility to help the opposition. I mean, look. When you become president, yes, you can be partisan, but you should know that there is a level of responsibility which is above your partisan interests.
Yeah, as president.
As president of the Federal Republic. And those are the worrisome things. And for me, I mean, more than a year ago or 2 years ago, I keep making the point that the president we know as the governor of Lagos is not the person that is presiding over Nigeria. Because there is clearly, I mean, some of us, you and I know him a bit much more closely. We couldn't have associated him with that level of reckless statement. You know, maybe the people around him, the quality has degenerated to that level, you know, and we must also, which is why, for instance, some of us feel very concerned. We can't take additional 4-year risk. Whatever needs to be done, it's not that we had the president. I campaigned for the president in the last election. But this is not what we campaigned for. This has to be clarified.
The Osun election is tomorrow. I wanted you to say something in terms of what ought to happen. Speak to INEC, speak to the people of Osun. What do you think should happen tomorrow? And what is the implication of it?
I would prefer to speak to the people of Osun. I think the people of Osun should stand up for what they believe, who they think should be the governor, and go out and vote and protect their votes. I think that is very important. If, for whatever reason, they become apathetical, so that they don't care whatever, and many of them refuse to go and vote, they just surrender destiny for the next 4 years in the hands of people who may not have their interests. That will be my message to the people of Osun. As for INEC, I just hope they are doing the right thing, and I hope they will resist the temptation to do the bidding, because the whole story of federal might and the way now off-season election become a congregation of public officers. We've seen from Edo to even Ekiti. How even now, if you check, maybe all the governors of APC are in Osun. That for me is a way of intimidation which INEC must resist.
Yeah, so two things I want to follow up on that, and then we move on, Malak. So this idea of other governors, massing in the places where they're having this off-season election, can you tell us how did this start? What was the purpose? You were a former national vice chairman of APC, so Malam, you know all about this. What does it really mean? What do they do when they come around like that? Just help us understand.
Honestly, I have struggled to trace when did this actually start. I know at the beginning in PGF, every time there is election,
you are the Director General of Progressive Governors.
Governors will come together to discuss issue of strategy. But at the end of the day, everything is in the hands of the party. One or two governors may be nominated into the campaign council. And they will all work together to coordinate. But not in a way that, because you see, increasingly things degenerated to the level even party primary. Because I remember the case of Edo 20, is it 20?
The one that brought in Conrad?
No. The one that they wanted to get Obaseki out.
Okay.
The primary, if you remember, I think it was Governor Hope Ozodinma that went to conduct, and they said they did direct primary, and they repeated it in the one that brought Opobo Lumondi, the current governor. They repeated it, and if you remember, they had to repeat the primary again.
True.
So, look, somehow, it also showed the level at which party administration has been weakened so much, to the extent that those who are supposed to be taking instruction from the party
and
become giving instruction to the party. So, unless we get things right, to the extent, and if you remember, just play back, you and I are old enough to remember during the Second Republic, you hardly hear governor. Although there was no incidences of off-season election then, but you hardly hear governors playing any major role
outside
their own responsibility. Party issues are managed by party leaders. And these are the issues we must begin to address. And I tell you, part of the other bigger issues is the fact that in all of this thing, party funding is almost zero. So governors come in to use state resources.
They bring in the cash.
Exactly. Which means basically election financing is more or less driven by the amount of public resources being invested in the election.
Mostly by the governors.
Mostly by the governors. And this needs to be addressed. If you continue to shy away from discussing these issues and finding solution to them.
Absolutely.
Because this is part of the issue why, for instance, just do a check. All those aspiring to be president are former public office holders. And for you to aspire to be governor, unless you are a former public office holder and you stash away money, you cannot even think about it.
Yeah.
So how do we start correcting? These are bigger questions if we are interested in fixing this democracy.
And we have to be, but before we move on, let's just say, like you said, that the people of Osun should go out, don't allow yourself to be intimidated. This is about your destiny. You should go out and vote for the candidate of your choice and make sure that your vote counts. And we are trusting that INEC will also do the right thing. Very important to emphasize those points, like you have also said. Now, so let's come to the G on D100. And some of the names that are there are quite notable people, such as yourself, Malam Saliu Lukman. We have Honorable Nena Ikeje, Dr. Akilu Ndabara, Professor Anthony Kila, Dr. Emeka Jikonye, Dr. Ibrahim Modibo, Dr. Ladan Saliu, Dr. Ayo Fagbemi, Ose Aneni is there, Saliu Tanko Yakasai, and on it goes, 100 of you. And you typed your statement, the doctrine of a necessary democratic opposition, which is an open letter to the leaders of the opposition and leaders of thought, civil society, and Nigerians of good conscience. Since you issued this statement 2 Sundays ago, I think it's going to be 2 weeks on Sunday, what has been the feedback that you guys have gotten?
Okay, first, before I give you the feedback, let me indicate to you, we are members of different political parties.
Yeah.
There are a few that are not even
Politicians.
They are not politicians. But what brought us all together is the concern that certainly this country deserves better. And moving toward the 2027 election, we could see we are almost going to replay what happened in 2023. For instance, they are becoming much more intolerant, which is well manifested in his meeting with the Catholic bishop, for instance. And it's also well manifested if you see the response of spokespeople in the presidency to criticism.
Yeah.
We are quite worried and alarmed that if we don't take time, post-20, if at this period when they are looking for votes, they will be this much intolerant. By the time they come back, we may end up having an era of tyranny, because the level of intolerance may move into the aspect of basically caging opposition and going after them. And we don't want to take that risk.
Right.
And to avoid that, we felt the bigger question is not even to come out and be attacking, because whatever you say about APC, criticism, Nigeria will say, okay, what is the alternative?
Yeah, that we already know. So what are we doing about it?
What are we doing? So we believe, and that is the issue, we need to engage the opposition to get things right at 2 levels.
Okay.
At one level, they must understand, for them to present the potential of winning the election against APC and President Tinubu, they have to unite. The second level is that for the Nigerian citizens to have confidence that and come out and vote for them, they must present an evidential program that shows that they are committed and capable of responding to the challenges of Nigeria.
And that they are different, don't you think?
And they are different. That's the issue. Because the question now, and all of us, I'm sure if we proceed, you will now take me to the point about the individuals who are in the opposition, how they move from one party, they were in APC before, blah, blah, all of us, and what difference are we? But it's a question that needs to be answered systematically through really looking at issues and negotiating them. Not based on proclamation or declaration. If there is going to be declaration, it has to be a product of agreement. Yeah. So which will translate into commitment by all the people in the opposition, which is absent now.
Right.
So we felt we need to engage them. Now, coming to your question, after issuing the statement, We forward the same statement. We issue the statement publicly.
Yeah.
We forward the same statement to key leaders in the opposition leadership. I requested to meet with them.
Okay.
And so far, they granted us audience, and we used last week
to do that.
We followed through, met most of them, if not all of them. I've been across 6 political parties, and the statement we issued about 3 days ago will clarify the 6 parties. Basically, ADC, PDP, Turaki leadership, APM, NDC, PRP, and SDP.
Okay.
These are the 6 parties. We went through, we met mainly the national chairman, presidential candidate, and their running mate.
So did you meet all the 3 chairman, presidential candidates?
In most cases, there are 1 or 2 that we have been unable to meet, but when we met the other, they gave commitment they are going to discuss.
Okay. Did you meet VP Atiku?
Look, I don't want to mention names.
Okay.
Because like we said in our statement, we met them in absolute confidence.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
and because the issues are quite sensitive, we don't want to reduce them to putting individuals on the spot.
Yeah, I understand.
So we went through all of
that. I also had to ask, but of course, you know,
so we met all of them, and the main issue we presented is the need to come together and the danger of not coming together, what it means both electorally and for the country generally if this government come back, and what it also means to all of them. Because some of the questions we posed to them in many of those meetings is the need for them to clarify. Do they just want to be in the ballot
for being sake?
For being sake, or they want to win the election? And we present the issues in a very clear terms. If it's about winning the election, this is the way to go. And that we are very clear that, look, at this point it will be unfair because we know the complexity of the issues. If we say, okay, the first issue is that one of you, we must adopt one candidate.
Yeah.
We know that we are going to scatter the discussion.
Yeah, if we start with that.
If we start with that. And we told them that, look, what is required at this stage is they need to set up structures of engagement. Structure that will enable them to develop stronger relationship, because it is the quality of relationship that will determine how much sacrifice they can make for one another and how much trust they could invest in each other. You know, and they were quite receptive. It is at that point we put, if you notice in that document, we made the commitment and we said in 2 weeks' time, National Council of Opposition Leaders. That was how we made the proposal about a summit on the 18th, and they all welcome it.
18th of this month.
18th, which is next week.
Okay.
And they all welcome it. And to that extent, each of the parties agree to nominate representatives that we could sit together to plan things. As we are talking, we are already planning. In fact, I think today we have a meeting of the planning session. Okay. And
this will be in Abuja, the August 18th.
Okay. It's in Abuja, where we are doing the planning and we'll come out with clear details in terms of which will reflect the interests of all the parties.
Right.
The other thing I can tell you that, yes, when we issue the statement, 100 of us signed the statement. Of course, the number, because somehow it became very popular, I cannot say how many people are supporting this initiative now. Even the parties we consulted 6 parties, we are receiving requests, more interest from more parties, and we are still engaging the parties. To that extent, I can even tell you, we have had meeting with the minority caucus of the House of Reps, and they gave us commitment, they want to work with us. They in fact indicated, even if we have not started, they had they have their own plan to initiate something like this. So there is no need to reinvent.
The minority caucus in the Senate or
in the House of Reps.
House of Reps, okay.
And they indicated that they are going to engage the minority caucus in the Senate too.
Okay.
In fact, the leadership of the minority caucus of the House of Reps have agreed to also nominate a representative to the planning process of whatever we are doing. So, in a number of respects, it's taking a life of its own. And the only thing which we keep emphasizing, we are not setting up a parallel structure that will now begin to harass political leaders or dictate to political leaders. All we are trying to do is to be facilitators, to give critical support to the opposition leadership, to present something more cogent, much more appealing to Nigerian citizens.
So basically we are saying that you will let the opposition leaders take the decisions.
They will take the decisions.
You are creating a platform for them to sit down.
Exactly.
You are saying that, look, this matter has to be discussed.
And I can tell you some of the issues that came from our consultation. They are so careful. They don't want to repeat what they call, quote and unquote, the mistake of Ibadan.
Okay. According
to many of them said, we went to Ibadan, made a declaration, but no structure
to follow up.
And they insisted before, and they challenged us, and we took up the challenge. That we must come up with proposals that will address all of those issues. And we are doing so in many respects. We have submitted some of the proposals to them. And if once we come to that summit, these are some of the issues that will be finalized. The question will be how much work needs to be done, and that is the issue we are now addressing at the technical level. Okay. Before we get to the summit, to ensure that there is real harmony, and at the end of the day, it will ensure that the pronouncement that will be made is backed by everybody.
And it's sustainable.
It's sustainable. So these are the challenge, which is why in different stations when I appear and this question was raised, I admitted, I said, look, it's not an easy task. No doubt. But challenges are there. So long as we are alive, there will be challenges.
Absolutely.
But as a nation, we must also recognize that this country deserves better.
Absolutely.
Than what we have today.
Yeah, I wanted to give you ask you a follow-up question because our time is fast spent. In an ideal situation, Madam, what do you expect to happen? Are you going to, because as it is right now, you have all these parties, they all have their presidential candidates, okay? Even PDP, the Turaki, has a presidential candidate. So you are not looking at using a party platform at this point. So tell us that in an ideal situation, is it going to be something like what we had in 1999 when Olufalaye and AD and Shinkafi of APP, came together? Is that still possible at this point, or what? In an ideal sense, as we wrap up.
I'm happy you read that, because this country is rich with many experiences, some successful, some unsuccessful. From First Republic to this current Third Republic. First Republic, if you remember, the most successful model was the NNA, NPC and NCNC. That's the one excellent model.
In the First Republic.
In the current republic, I'm happy you cited the 1998, the AAD and APP model. But even much recent, if you remember, that the one that did not succeed, the ACN and CPC attempt.
In 2011.
Right. So there are many models. The issue is to get the leaders to have the right mindset to engage it. That is the preliminary work we are doing now. If when they have the right mindset, we are convinced the question of choice will be easy for them.
And you're making a good decision to say that, you let them be the one to determine.
They will take the decision.
Yeah,
which is why when I hear people say, so long as he's our candidate, no. As facilitators, you are free to say this is what you want. But know that what you want is a proposal for negotiation.
Right. Among yourself. Interesting. Interesting. I mean, this is, and I must say that, Madam, I have known you even when we were in government as somebody that is not only progressive-minded, but very thorough, in your articulation. And I must say to you that this attempt is a patriotic move on behalf of democracy. It is important to have a viable opposition.
Look, I'm not cutting you short, my brother. You look at Nigeria and you look at the talent and the human resource we have, and how we are successful in so many fields, and then in the political field, we become. I mean, the worst case scenario
is quite.
And because we are the worst case politically, is now damaging.
It messes up everything.
Almost everything. So for me, this is a life project.
It is.
And we are telling our leaders, this is a calling to demonstrate their patriotic duty to the nation and how much they love the citizens of Nigeria.
And that's why I'm going to read one of the things that I found interesting as we conclude, and I'll let you have the last word. It says that while the executive, talking about state of the nation, in that your statement, the G100, it says while the executive consolidate powers, opposition fragments. While the people seek leadership, too many leaders pursue personal ambition. That is not merely the failure of political parties, it is the weakening of democracy itself. That is why I believe that this your project is very, very core, because if you have a situation where the opposition is lame, it encourages the excessive use of power by the incumbent, and that serves nobody any good. So thank you so much for this. But one last thing that I should ask you, Mr. Akim Baba Ahmed, who is the leader of PRP, and you had mentioned him too. He said something recently. He said that if President Tinubu returns in 2027, the knot is finished. How do you? What does that mean? Can you give us an?
Well,
how do you react to that?
I have reacted in a way at the beginning when I made the point about how things are going down. And I don't think it's just the North. For me, if APC and President Asuwaju come back, I would say Nigeria is going to be finished.
Wow.
And we just have to face that reality. And which is why our appeal to leaders, and honestly, when I hear statesmen like President Obasanjo engaging the issue in a partisan way, I get worried. I think leaders and fathers of the nation like President Obasanjo should see above individuals and personalities. At this point, the present danger is basically the APC government and President Tinubu. And we need to take advantage of the democratic process
to resolve that.
And resolving that, we have to get the opposition to get things right. This is my position, and I say so without any apology to APC and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I was part of them, and Absolutely. I stated why I disagree with them, and I see them not taking correction, and to that extent, therefore, they constitute the present danger, and we have to take advantage of the democratic process to get them out of power.
Exactly, because like you said, a government that fears no opposition soon forgets the people. Thank you so much. And democracy is about the people.
It is about the people.
Thank you so much, Madam Saliu Lukman. Thank you for your progressive antecedents and the sustenance of being forthright in this matter. And we hope that indeed we'll be able to have a viable, robust, election in 2027, and may the better candidate win.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.